So here it says locked out, right? So that means that it was frozen for a time, and then after that acted like it was closed after 1 month. So then if the last time I went into the bank, I did a First Hawaiian Bank commercial, and it shows the date on my YouTube as 1 year. I believe it was even in August was the last time I was able to use my debit card, and also that was the last time I walked into the actual bank to deposit and withdraw at the same time. But here's the thing, if your social security is underpaid and then your lawyer is or your attorney is acting like they're not able to give you the money, then your bank account is closed, but then this amount of money is not able to then pay each of these credit cards, right? Even then, I show inconsistencies in Robinhood as well, and PayPal also being locked, although they would owe me money. So then I would want enough in my social security and then not redacted in my bank, because then I'm unable to pay Chase, I'm unable to pay Bank of America, I'm unable to pay Capital One and Discover if my bank account is frozen and then closed, and then not have the correct amount to pay for any of these. This is then how you create a financial avalanche, because then if they go 1 year and you're unable to pay your Discover, now your TransUnion, your Equifax, or your FICO score is then decreased. So then when I go to my Instagram, because I show all the proof of documents, right? Pardon me showing anybody else in the meantime. But if I go down here, that means I have 100% payment history and zero derogatory. That means it's clean credit. And I just got an Apple card, but it was actually only for $2,000. Even though multi of my credit cards already were from 19 years, 2 months, 18 years, 11 months, 11 years, 10 months, 10 years, and 8 months. But then they even then tried to say that it's only 15 years of age. So credit age 15 years and 1 month is because they combined it and then did the median. So they added them all together and then divided it by the number, although the credit age would be from even the first credit card I had, which was supposed to probably be Discover and not Capital One, but it says 19 years, 2 months Capital One, 18 years, 11 months for Discover card. So then they would also then be tampering with my credit factors, my credit score. And then if I have 100% history, that means I'm always paid on time and zero derogatory. I wouldn't have a high impact credit that says needs work, because then that would be untrue if you're 100% always paying on time. And your social security amount wouldn't be less than minimum wage, even by showing the amount of credit that you also had. So then when the bank interferes, I'm unable to pay the credit, then it will show that it becomes derogatory or lowers my score, even though I already retired and my social security amount would not be actually under minimum wage. It would be able to then cover each of those different credit cards enough that even in 1 month I could pay off Discover, Capital One, Chase, Robinhood, even Bank of America, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all in 1 month. Due to all of that and my work history, that's how I could continue to build credit. But if then they pay me a lower amount, less than minimum wage, so it's only 1,100, right? That's not even a paycheck from previous was that low, or even supposed to be that low, to then act like I could run into interferences, right? So then if they show that my paychecks were lower and they don't calculate it correctly, and then they say, oh, you didn't work long enough. Yeah, but then you actually pay them below minimum wage while working overtime most of the time and then not calculating it on timesheets. So I would actually be getting Social Security enough, especially in 2 days, if the bank shuts down or causes a trespass warning. So if that happens within a year, all of these credit cards then have compounded interest rates, which is the APR, because I'm unable to pay for it. Even though with my work and even my resume, even with work history in the workplace, that would be able to cover all of them by having all the forms of work be able to compound. Even the Social Security amount of safety could pay for each one every month without any issues at all. So I would never then have a trespass warning. I would never go through police brutality. And they would be able to look at all the documents, right? And then even issue a monthly check that is then compounded actually because of how Social Security work and business in America, that then would be able to continue to build my credit score because I could pay for Discover, Capital One, Chase, Bank of America, First Hawaiian Bank, Robinhood, Venmo, Cash App, or even not have to pay them, and you will see my net worth continue to boost up. That's somebody who, if I type in, pardon if I run into anything else, right? So if I look at my screen roll and then type in my iPhone, if I type in Daily Mix, DAILY, because then it shows the proof of how many times on Spotify that I even went number one. Because anytime you show proof of documentation with each song, even then if it's a different um a different song and it's not albums, then they consider it as albums because of the amount of songs that you did, even if they're singles that go number one. So then I have the song Revolution, I have the song Untouchable, I have the song. So some of them, I had to edit to show in different formats because that's even what Gary Vee references, showing things in multi formats. um, the song Polaroid number two. These are some of the biggest names in America that have done music. I'm the Man, even the Winners Club. That's why I also jamming. But here's also the thing too is that when you do that much work, you're supposed to be compensated. Even the song My Hood, all of those number ones, even my Social Security would allow me to not get a trespass warning. Even on Facebook too, 20,000 plus posts, but then look, it shows that it's breached illegally. Having that breached illegally would also be getting me paid more because once I did 20,000 on Facebook, they breached my Instagram before that. That's why my Facebook page was 20,000. Then they unbreached my Instagram and they breached the Facebook page. Then I went and I took over. Pardon me for going into my page and seeing somebody else as well. Shout out to the legends. Then it shows I didn't boost my content, which would cause debt. I have organic 582,000 views in the last 30 days. Then if I was breached on Facebook after I went to 20,000 posts, I would then go back to Instagram, which is then only 3,000 posts. But then in the meantime, while I understand breaches on one, then I would make the biggest YouTube channels. So then the biggest YouTube channels would be having monetization, would be showing also the businesses that I also used, but that would also be showing why my credit history would be bigger and also my Social Security, especially if I had to talk to each of these places instead of even having my hometown, which is Maui, Hawaii, in Wailuku, even them pay me enough. Then I would be having to overspeak and overtalk and then not receive my funds. But then I would have the Josh Ford show, I would have Josh Ford Music, I'd have Josh Ford Beats, World Music Innovations, Coconut Kingdom, The Winners Club, and I would have all of these separate, almost like bank accounts, but only thing is I'll be paying for everything with cash. So then I wouldn't need to actually have multi bank accounts, although I know of separation, but I would be using my credit cards for that. So I'd be paying any business expenses. So then I have constant cash and even plant power, because then we went to dispensaries and even discrimination in dispensaries for no reason at all. Even if I was one of the first, even going there with my mom to take care of my health as well and hers. So then here's the other part. All of these would be paying business expenses, but I would show that all of those channels aren't being monetized, and then Social Security isn't providing enough for even those different forms of work, right? So that it would be able to pay all credit cards. It would also cause monetization on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, because every time I see a breach in one, I know that that's the developers on the other side, and then they're not paying out. So then if I'm on Facebook, 20,000 posts, and I only get 1 penny, then that would be illegal. And then all of the business paperwork that I have, even speaking with the comptroller, even in different states and emailing it, that would send out these checks directly to the mail, but then they could tamper with the mail and not actually show up with the checks as well. So then people like to tamper with your money, and then it's not being received to my mailbox. But then all of these other businesses would create monetization opportunities, especially if it was illegally giving me 1 penny. That was illegal since 1938. Pardon me again for when I log in, I get to see some of the biggest musicians. But even when I went on the news, they kind of tampered it and didn't even identify me as the producer who actually owned the brand as well. So then you get to see all of these inconsistencies, because I have to show proof, and then I show the proof of compromisation, and then I can go into my photos, which then I have to document. And because it's so easy to lose documentation, right? If you don't have a phone, if you're not getting paid correctly, if your phone is too old, it's easy to miss documentation when they try to hide it. So then I would be even showing Night Shift, Daily Mix #1, and then it also shows references of many of the individuals who also are some of the greatest artists of this generation. Then I would screenshot it on different YouTube channels, because then it shows Real One went big time, Untouchable went #1, The World Is Hers went #1, Long Nights, Long Days went #1, Bounce That went #1. So why is this? Because previously in history, many people got paid without even using technology. So then all of my work that I even did on social media monetization, it has all my music behind it, but then it shows that social media wouldn't be monetizing me, although then that's counted as four or more people. So it would be Josh Ford, Joshua Elijah Ford, but then the forms of work, right, would show that I did 95 songs before I was able to even get paid, which then is mixing, mastering, production, producing, and even writing and singing. So that's like 5 forms of work that then I had to, actually do it myself independently. She Want Me went #1, some of the biggest names in history that also got paid. Rude Boys went #1. But then here's the other thing as well, is anybody I actually produced as well didn't have my best interest. So if I mix, master, produce, arrange, do vocals, and then even rap and sing, I would expect people that I work with to even, maybe provide assistance sometimes, but then that means I'm 100% independent. It's even more than 3, 6, 9 #1s, but that's because the amount of work completed, right, didn't have to be in album form, but then doing 95 records is probably like 10 albums at least. So then that's like all going number one on all 10 albums. That's why this was a little bit longer, and excuse the interferences when I log in and I show the proof of documentation, and then this wouldn't say that your username is locked out of your bank because it's able to pay the credit cards. And that's also how I got my social security redacted and underpaid instead of actually representing all of the forms of work that I actually did. That's why this video is a little bit longer and it's not showing my face. It's showing just the references, even communication with the comptroller. That's a person who is a comptroller of the currency. This would then show that I reached out to many, because if I got a delayed time frame in Hawaii, especially with my social security amount, and then I showed a proof of, so if it's locked out of your or froze your account for 365 days, I would keep showing different amounts before the 365 days actually hits. So then I would have documentation of 750 million. I would show documentation of even less than 750 million. Then it will go to 10.8 billion. Especially then when I actually go to the bank in person and then the police cause police brutality, that's when you would then end up seeing 100 trillion. Although some people would say that's realistic, but I would keep emailing each person before even locked out or frozen in 1 week. So then 1 month I would go without money, 2 months I'll go without money, 3 months I'll go without money. Then it's creating an avalanche in my credit cards, which means a compound interest unable to be paid for due to your banking foreclosure. And then Social Security redacted instead of actually increased above minimum wage in the United States of America and in the Hawaiian Islands, Maui, Hawaii, Kahului, Joshua Elijah Ford. And then you would see my lawyer talk back to me instead of actually, I said, could you please help me with even opening my bank account? Then this didn't actually happen. He said, good luck, you're on your own. But I was in front of the judge with the attorney and with myself and in front of the judge. Usually you don't even have to go this far to get your social security approved. But then even Real One going number one would have paid me a lot. And then I wouldn't have even Rolls Royces be seized assets instead. So then I'm unable to travel, I'm unable to buy vehicles, unable to buy any form of transportation, all because each individual who was a professional redacted my money instead of even paying me in a lump sum. But then you would continue to see the documentation from 1 week to 2 weeks to 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Even then, the last time I was able to walk in 1 year ago on YouTube, it shows me making a commercial at the bank. And then I would even be talking to multiple comptrollers that then don't have the checks issued. So then, is it going to somebody else? Is it being tampered with UPS, FedEx, or United States Postal Service? Or is it just all of these professionals, even in the email chain across many different states, are they just stealing the money and hoping somebody passes away? Once you wish death upon somebody or even cause police brutality and then you survive through it, especially as a number one artist, that's when you see all of the documents in the email go from different price points to even then 100 trillion. Because why would people be spying on me with cameras, videos, audios, instead of even addressing the inconsistencies in the security cameras, or even just paying him in checks with good faith and having his bank account open? Because he would be able to use social security, especially proof of documents, which is why I went to the bank with a backpack and a duffel bag. I didn't have guns, weapons, clothes. I'm not the police. I'm like one of the number one artists across America, even with the Winners Club going number one in a new way as well, because it's all connected to each social media platform. It's connected to YouTube. So if I'm on the radio or in the club, that's an older form that ASCAP, Harry Fox, even many other distribution companies in the music industry would already be paying you for. Then when I take it to the new digital age, you will see it also have more exposure organically than even the radio in 203 or more countries, because it's then connected to YouTube, TikTok, Twitter/X, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Threads, even MySpace previously before all of the music, especially even the music I did in the streets as well. That would all be accounted for and seen. And then you wouldn't have DistroKid, CD Baby, and TuneCore sending me $1 every month. So then that even shows that even they're in bad fate, especially if my bank is then FDIC government backed, but then they lock it instead of keeping it open. So if I had all of those connected to my bank account to even get paid with even Social Security, it wouldn't be under minimum wage as one of the largest artists across America, even if I'm in the Hawaiian Islands, which is also a part of the United States. That's why I would go into the bank with a proof of LLCs, which is the limited liability companies, because I wouldn't want a board to try to act like they have to manage all of this. It's me being independent, managing all of it, connected to the YouTube brands. So the YouTube brands are then connected to the state of Hawaii, like Constant Cash Records, Coconut Kingdom, the Winners Club, Josh Ford Show, World Media Innovations is then also World Music Innovations. Many of those entities, not all of them, but many of them, because you don't have to have it connected as a LLC or a corporation before you get paid. And so individual, even a soul survivor who went through, you know, certain things I don't even like to talk about, would be able to be paid right away. And even in the mail, 1 day, 2 day shipping will show up right away. So there's many inconsistencies and illegal activity even shown on camera that would be illegal proof. Pardon me while I close this again too. But I was just showing all of the proof of documentation of how companies in Hawaii would be then protected and protecting the brands, even then the YouTube channels, even then the social media accounts. But then I would even have the Winners Club, World Music Innovations, and even Constant Cash Records. But it's the Winners Club, World Music Innovations, and Coconut Kingdom, then registered with the United States of America as well as trademarks. So then it goes from America trademarks down to Hawaii State Limited Liability Companies, then even protecting the Joshua Elijah Ford name, and then also then having all of the proof that Social Security would be paying me more, especially if TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby, and then the subsidiary companies that make those the umbrella, Warner Music, Apple Music, Spotify, Sony, that then have those smaller companies able to be paid out. Once you see I'm on $0 or then receive 1 penny, that means everybody acted and behaved unprofessionally in a gross manner, which would also then pay me more even after the song Pay Me. So then many of the records also then address all of these situations. It has nothing to do with my family. because it's me doing the actual work, right? That's a sole single proprietor or sole survivor that then had businesses but then went through health issues, all while maintaining all of this professionalism. Only a select few people have mixed, master, produced, but then arrange, sing, write the lyrics. But even before I did that, only work professional corporations: Verizon, State of Hawaii, University of Hawaii, Maui College. That's working there, not only going to school there, working at Office Max, Home Depot. This is all while doing my music career. So I only did one song called VIP Stars that was already on the radio. Even that one would have made me rich. So if I go to like Apple Music or Spotify, I cannot log in now hardly because my accounts got breached by not having enough money to pay for it, although I did all the records that go global. So then if I type my name in Apple Music, right, then you can look and address the dates that I was actually doing music. So the first song was called VIP Stars in 2013, right here, when my artwork wasn't actually it was just a photo of me. Then I had to update it later. But that was all when I have even a gap. So I have a gap in music because I was only working for corporations in the community. Then after that, I put all money in again, and then I started to run the ball every single year. So then after I ran the ball in music, right, with Seven Rings, Magic Island, the song Hustler I did on KITV4 News, didn't get credit for the song Superman, the song Supergirl, LA Marathon Freestyle, the Winners Club, even, bringing back my dad on Jah Is My Destiny, because that was a record that he did before I was born. So I even then redistribute that out. City Poppin' Freestyle, which was 8 minutes. Maui Chillin'. Then you see an interesting one that's called Walk That Walk. I didn't, actually do that record, but in good faith, that's people I know. Then I don't even know if I'm on that record, but then sometimes people tag you too to get more play. Then I did the song Revolution, did the song Ooh Damn, did the song The World Is Hers. This is the 95 plus records that I did, the song Real One. All of these could be grouped as albums, but I just did all #1 singles. I Want the Smoke, Rude Boys, Little Games, My Hood, Bounce That, Booty Love, Wish You Were Mine album, right? So I did do one album. Song Villain, Loving the Way You Are. All of that is documented proof after I did the work at corporations, but then also more corporations too. That's how I went to 200 plus countries with the music all there. And YouTube, MySpace, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the social media platforms. And then that would definitely bring back enough to have my cars, my luxury, my transportation, being able to have houses, being able to live inside of the hotel, being able to have food instead of $0 or then an EBT card that says 250 while I'm taking care of myself, but then also having my mom live with me as well. So all of that is even different from the work in the community at all of the corporations. Then I gotta wonder, where is my money? Where is my checks? And then did the mail services, the lawyers, and even the state financially interfere? That would be a yes, because I keep getting bills and I keep getting the notification saying you're not paying anything. But then how would I do all of this work, especially in front of the public, as well as doing shows? Then I do model pageant shows. I'm in a club performing, but then I don't have a house, transportation, I don't have food. Then I create some of the biggest clothing brands, but then I don't have clothes either because they say I cannot afford to pay for any of this. But I already did the proof of work and the documents, and then I get restraining orders and trespass warnings and tampered documents instead of backed by the government in good faith and best interest.